Can you hear me okay? Awesome. I am on the same as last night, 22 still. Yeah. Yeah, that's my main. Yeah. Yeah. And it's one of those where I've got that much to play. I'm sort of doing selective days for certain games, but I loved last night. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Last night was awesome. I really enjoyed it.
I definitely need to do something with the Barbarian because I've only got 4 skills on the hotbar. It's just so boring. It's like default attack seems to do a fair bit of damage. Build up your rage, hit with spinning attack, and a couple of shouts now and again just to boost your DPS and movement.
Yeah.
And that was it. That's like, well, there's nothing to do.
What I'm thinking is we just need to get everybody to end game. Once everybody's in end game, then we can just do that all the time.
Yeah.
And apparently, that's what people recommend. Is that once you hit your end game, is you group up and you go do dungeons.
Yeah. I've got to do a load of side quests because I've only got room for 1. I'm picking them up when I find them in the middle of nowhere where they're not easy to get to. So it's like, but I've got some that were easy to get to that it's right. I need to get rid of these so that I can free up some room for those type of things.
Yeah.
Stronghold that I unlocked last night for my druid aspects. That was fun, and that led to quite a few side quests after that. So I've had about 5 side quests, and there's another dungeon underneath it as well, which I've not been into yet.
Nice.
So many places to explore. And so I've got the horse. I'm aiming towards the horse, and then I'll do a load of side quests.
And yes, I'm stood up at the moment, just in case you're wondering why I'm very tall.
Can't tell because your background's blurred.
I know. People don't want to see my gaming background, do they?
We would like to see your wife when she sneaks up to make you jump, so that we don't jump as well, though.
That's a good call.
Get the life out of me the other day. I just heard him scream, and it was his wife that had made him jump that then made me jump.
I had that. I had that years ago when I was playing. Do you remember the first Alien first-person game? And you start and you're going through this corridor, this steam vent bursts, and just when that happened, I came around with a cup of coffee, and tapped me on the shoulder.
Oh, we didn't have camera on when she made Zed jump, so I had no idea what was going on. I just heard this loud noise. It's like, what the hell was that?
Yeah, this girl scream.
Ish.
There was this massive scream, and it was like I just went, ah. She does it to me quite often, especially on a Friday or a Saturday night when I'm not paying attention. When I'm really engrossed in doing something. All right.
I need to get my notes out, don't I?
You're packed, Mr. Sorrental?
Not totally packed. Got the top bits to put in. Just got some deliveries from Amazon, so I've got to sort those out as well.
Who's headlining this year?
Who's what? Sorry.
Headlining.
Metallica, playing twice. Slipknot, and who's playing the second day?
You have to look at the lineup.
Last time I went, Slipknot was headlining then as well.
Well, let's face it, Slipknot and Metallica is going to be an awesome night.
Yeah, I haven't seen Metallica live. It's one of the few bands I'd like to.
Have you not?
Nah.
I've seen them loads, but they're playing two nights, and each night's different.
Oh, your favourite band's on Thursday night, Soren? Hailstorm.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
them I'd like to see again. I have seen them 4 times, but you can never see too much of Hailstorm.
Thursday's probably one of my favourite nights. Thursday and Saturday.
Alter Bridge.
I was going to say, is Alter Bridge and Shinedown on? Because usually when the Hailstorm's about, those two are out as well, and they tend to join each other's sets sometimes.
Shinedown, no, but so the Thursday was meant to be. Who was it meant to be? No, it was the Saturday Five Finger Death Punch we were meant to be playing, but they pulled out because of the lead singer. So Thursday, you got Metallica, Alter Bridge, Skindred, Hailstorm, Ginger, Pussyfire, the later shows. Friday, Bring Me the Horizon, headlining with Architects, Evanescence, Within Temptation are awesome.
Yeah.
Neck Deep. Mammoth are also playing on Thursday as well. Saturday is Metallica, Disturbed, Placebo, and I think those are there's Clutch on as well, and Ice Nine Kills. Those are the main ones, and then the Sunday is Slipknot, Partway Drive, Ghost, Bad Religion, I Prevail, Electric Cowboy, Behemoth, Hatebreed. Yeah, some really good bands in as well. So I think Friday's probably the weakest day.
Right.
There's a lot of bands there that I'd like to see.
As a whole, for 4 nights, 4 days of music, it's like, yeah, this is pretty. I can't miss this. It's phenomenal.
Are you going tomorrow?
Yes, going down to Tuesday night, and then we're getting there early-ish. Gates open at 12 on the Wednesday.
Right.
So we've got the Wednesday night with no music, but there's usually stuff to do, and there's also the village and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago that I went.
I bet your back's going to be knackered by the time when you get back.
That'd be right.
Be right.
I bet that Lizzie goes up to sing with Alter Bridge, and I wouldn't be surprised if Miles goes for at least one song with Hailstorm, because there's I can't remember the name of the song, Alter Bridge, but Lizzie usually goes up and sings with him, and it's superb to listen to. It's one of the songs that I will always stop everything I'm doing and just stand and listen to it. But I've seen Alter Bridge 4 times, Hailstorm 4 times, and Shinedown 5, I think. And for 3 of those 3 were playing at the same time after each other. So they play in Manchester with usually Hailstorm, then Shinedown, then Alter Bridge headlining or type of thing. I've been to a few gigs like that. And last time I went to download, Shinedown were playing and Blackstone Cherry were headlining, and he came down and just walked through the crowd, got up on stage and started singing with Brent in Shinedown. They're big mates as well. I was never a big fan of Slipknot until download, and then Corey telling everyone, 50,000 people, to sit down, and I sat down and looked around, and there wasn't a single person standing. It's like, yeah, he can tell you what to do, and you just do it. And he said, jump up when I say, and everyone did. It went absolute mental. I need to go to another one.
Shall we commence?
Episode 30.
Yeah.
On a 6-episode adventure.
No, I still think, looking at where you are and how you're approaching things, I still think we can do this in under. I reckon we can do it in another 20 episodes.
So he's
Now,
got confidence we're
whether
going to
those 20
survive.
episodes takes us another year to do at the rate we're going, I don't know. But
Yeah, and whether it's with these characters or whether they'll have died or gone insane by then.
I don't think this is as dangerous and deadly as traditional Cthulhu, to be fair.
No, but we're about to storm a place with shed loads of guards and sniper rifles and
This is true.
mouths all over the place.
This is true.
As a famous man once said, it'd be right.
So if you remember last session, which does seem to have been 2 or 3 weeks ago now, you learnt a little bit more. You discovered that despite there appearing to be a lack of any form of nectar being sold in Valletta, you actually discover that it would appear that it is being sold in the parks, away from the town centre, but certainly not away from traffic. You'd spotted a runner, like a bagman, followed them, led yourself to a blonde lady in a car, in a rather expensive Rolls Royce that stands out, if I remember rightly. You then tracked her. She was heading towards the hospital, but she didn't go to the hospital. You went to the hospital, had a poke around in the hospital, discovered that there is a wing named the Donovan Wing. That in the Donovan Wing there appears to be a Montgomery Donovan Jr. You are not sure quite what's going on, but what you did learn is that the nurses were giving this orange juice in very weak doses to patients, and as far as you can tell, that orange juice is actually a form of nectar, or it is the Maltese nectar in very small quantities. You also noted, if I recall, individuals. See if I can where they are. So individual that look a little bit like this, but the inside of their hood was a specific colour. Points if you can remember what colour they were.
There was
Rose black, weren't they? But the inside, I think, was
purple
blue,
lining, wasn't it? Blue?
Purple, I believe. Peach.
Peach.
Peach, that's right.
Peach. Peach. Yeah, 1 second. I'm just double checking. Yes, peach. So it was the ladies in the Faldettas, but instead of it being black, the lining in the hood was black. It's actually peach. And you'd noticed that a couple of those were coming in and out of the hospital. And I think you went in and watched one of them, who came out of an office with what looked to be vials that went into the deep pockets or inside bag or something of this Faldetta.
She also asked where Nurse Lepira was.
That is correct, yes. And you decided, I believe, that the side of the building there is an escape route up, and it leads to the doctor's office, as far as you can tell, Dr. Salazio. Name? I want to say that's his name.
That is it. Yeah, it's his name. Yeah.
Seen it 3 times. Yes, Salazio. And you decided that you were going to wait until things had quietened down at night time, and you were going to come back and take a look at trying to get into his office quietly up the fire escape and take a poke around. So I'll hand over to you. Walk me through your plans for the evening, gentlemen.
I think for myself that we should get something to eat first, go back, tool up, and then go through the doctor's office.
Sounds good to me. So, not sure what you mean by tool up.
Well, you'll need your lock picking tools, right? You can pick locks.
Yeah, I kind of always got those on me.
Ah. I won't mind getting my pistol because.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't mind getting my pistol because you never know.
Yeah. I've got some knuckle dusters. I haven't got a pistol with me. So, Rolf's got a pistol with him, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm.
Saying that, didn't we say we put all the weapons in the trunk for when we went to the to the bay?
I believe you said you put some weapons in the trunk, yes?
Yeah.
The long arms are definitely in there.
Yeah.
As
Well-
best they can be, they are definitely in the trunk.
Well, I'll spend a point of preparedness and say my pistol's in there as well then.
Okay.
And I've always got my knife on me.
Okay. So you go off, you find something to eat. You try and stay fairly local towards the ooh.
The ghost?
No, I'm just looking at his preparedness roll.
I know, I think I failed it.
Oh, he's failed it. What were you preparing?
My pistol.
Yeah, you've left your pistol back in your valise back in the hotel room.
Damn.
You have your rifle,
Yeah, that's going to stay in the car.
and you probably have your saber in the boot. But when you examine the content of the boot, you realise that, yeah, your pistol's in a different bag and you didn't pack it today.
You'll hear some quiet cursing as I'm kicking myself.
Time-wise, it is currently almost 8 o'clock in the evening. There is still probably some activity around the hotel, the hospital, making it still a little bit too early probably to start your raid.
Alfred, Ralph, I've left my gun back at the hotel. It seems still quite busy in there. Can we go back and get it?
You need it, but yeah, I thought the idea was to be quiet and not let them know we're here. Finding a
Well-
pistol's gonna give it away.
Well, it is, but better to have it and not need it than not have it when
Yeah.
you need it.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. The stuff we've seen at the port, they're armed to the teeth, and if they're guarding the boss's son, or if they come at night, I don't want to bump into them while we're rifling through stuff.
Yeah, see, I've not been in a hospital, so I don't know what the
Sorry.
guards were carrying. I
Well,
stayed in the car because I'd stand out too much.
yeah, I mean, there were just hospital staff in there, and they looked like the porters were quite. They just had billy clubs. But like I say, if sorry, let me find his
Yeah.
name.
Well, there's one thing to stop a guard with a billy club being feisty, and that's a pistol.
That's right.
I find Knuckle Duster does it quite well as well.
Well, not if they're good and they hit you back.
Yeah, and if
Because
Donovan,
a billy club will have range on you.
Yeah, the idea is that they go down after the first punch.
And I don't want to. If Donovan comes to visit his son tonight, he'll have his guards with him. So,
Yeah,
Well,
they were around.
Well, if it's a time mission, take my pistol because it's neither using an ornament in my hands.
well, we've got plenty of time because it's still busy here. So
Mhm.
How long does
they
it
won't
take
wind
to
down
get
till
back?
about 11 o'clock. I would have thought.
I'm going to take you a round trip back to the hotel, park up, get to your room, get back. Best part of an hour. Maybe the traffic's not going to be horrendous. It's certainly not. 1930s traffic versus 2020s traffic is going to be very different.
Yeah, plenty of time because we can get something to eat as well, can't we?
Yeah, could do.
Yeah, let's do it.
Make sure we've got the cameras with us who were going to be taking evidence.
Hmm.
Easiest way is probably photograph. If we seal it, they'll know that we've been there, and there's no such thing as photocopies.
Okay. Well, you return back to the hotel and Joseph picks up his pistol, shoves it in his coat, gets himself tidied up.
I'll make
You
sure
then-
I've got my pistol as well, just in case.
You then head to dinner. Find somewhere where you can essentially park the car nearby and enjoy a pleasant Maltese, sort of traditional Maltese meal, some wine. Generally have a very relaxing couple of hours. Let's move the time on a little bit. It's getting close to 10 o'clock now. Dinner's been done. You're back in the car. You've driven yourself over to the hotel, the hotel. I keep saying the hotel, the hospital. And you kind of pulled quietly into the car park, parking as far away from any light sources of the building as you can possibly find. Here and there are still the odd windows lit, but glancing up at the third floor where the Donovan wing would be, it is for the most part, apart from one window about halfway down the wing, the rest of them are dark.
Do we know what that room is?
You absolutely do. You suspect the nurse's station.
Okay, makes sense.
Which was about, if you remember, it was about halfway down.
I remember the doctor's was more or less by the door, but I don't remember where everything else was because I didn't go in.
Yeah,
So,
the doctor's was at the far end. In the middle was the nurse's station, and then Junior's room was 304, and there was another boy in 303, and one other person I think in 302. So you kind of had 301, 302, 303, 304, 304, and 302 would be windows looking out over the car park and whatever they can see. Nurse's station, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then probably 11 and 12 would be effectively 12 would be his office, and 11 would be and maybe a store cupboard or some kind. One sec. We've had a faff with BT tonight, and the wife's BT account's not working. It was working, and now it's not working. That's just bizarre, right?
BT, they do whatever the hell they want and sub the consequences.
Yeah. I wonder if whatever this guy did is just. Oh. Give me a sec. I just need to check something. bet I know what he's done. Yeah, so as far as you can tell, the only window that you can see that's lit is the nurse's station.
Okay, I think it's time we moved on.
Take a look at what's in the doctor's office.
Yeah.
So what we're taking: camera, pistol, lockpicks. Anything else we need?
I shouldn't think so. As long as you can get through those doors.
We're not planning on taking anything from there, are we? Just seeing what information we can find and
I'll take a small.
photographing something.
Yeah, I'll take a small bag just in case.
Yeah, just
Little
thinking
carry-all type thing.
if we're taking anything from there, it might be worth raiding the storeroom next door to disguise that he was targeted.
Well, hopefully, if we leave it
find out.
exactly how we found it.
Yeah, we don't need to take anything. That's fine.
You've always got a notebook on you, haven't you, Alfred? Sorry, Ralph. Sorry.
Both
I think
as
we-
I have as
I
well.
think I think we both have.
Guy without a notebook doesn't tend to remember all the notes and things that clues and things he's found. Oh, maybe that's just me.
Right, so carefully make our way around to the ladders. Oh, the stairwell on the outside.
Yeah, taking a
Yep.
flashlight as well, just so
Oh,
that
yes,
I can see
yeah.
what I'm actually doing with the lock.
Give me stealth rolls. You leave your car and head quietly across the car park, across the path. It's probably a gravel path rather than a really neat stone path, but at this point, to the edge of the building where the staircase is. The first floor of the staircase looks like it is like a pull-down ladder that's been pushed up, rather than being a ladder that goes all the way down.
Yeah, makes sense.
But you've got yourself, you think, into a bit of secluded area where you can kind of assess your next move without being spotted.
Well, put my balaclava on and start climbing. Someone looks through the window, they sees me. It's not
They see
obvious who I am.
They see a masked, suited man climbing.
Yeah.
So your first challenge is, how do you get the ladder down? Because it is just above head height.
I reach my arm up above head height.
Jump, grab hold of it, and see if it pulls down.
Yeah, well, what I would do is I'd probably lift you up, give you, put my hands together and get you to stand in my hand. Just give it a little leg up yourself.
Yeah.
Give me an athletics test.
Who? The one
You,
holding?
if you're taking the lead.
Okay. What's going on with this thing? It won't scroll down when I'm actually rolling anything. There we go.
Oh, God. Sorry. Never look at email when I'm not doing anything. Okay. With a bit of a boost from Joseph, Alfred, you're able to grab the ladder and pull. It's stiff a little bit. It clearly hasn't been moved for a while, and it takes almost like you have to kind of just throw yourself off Joseph's shoulders and let your body weight pull this ladder down. It does make a noise, a bit of a screech, metal on metal that's not been well maintained as the ladder comes down.
Before I start climbing it, I want to make sure that there's nobody coming to investigate.
Okay. Over near the main door, you kind of poke your head round and look towards the main door. You can see a flashlight kind of sweeps across in your direction.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
a weak flashlight. You're convinced that it has no ability to reach where you are, but you can see the light is getting brighter.
Okay, someone's coming.
Let's get into a bush and wait.
All right, give me stealth rolls then, please. Really? Okay.
What's going on with this thing?
You pull yourselves into what you think is a dense bit of shrubbery and wait, watching as this light gets closer. It gets to the corner of the building where the ladder has come down, and he kind of sweeps around, and then he kind of spots the ladder, looks up, and mutters to himself in Maltese. At which point he turns around and begins to walk back.
How's he walking? Slowly or with the same gaits he came?
He's walking. He's walking with the same kind of gait that he came, sweeping the torch side to side. Kind of not mega effectively. Yeah, it's not super effective. It's probably a show of looking rather than really thinking there's something to be worried about.
I think I'm going to wait until he gets back into his position, or see if he goes inside.
Goes to the door, and he does indeed disappear inside. After a few minutes, he comes back out, and under the light of the sort of the entranceway of the hospital, you can see him just stand there, and then a flare as a cigarette light.
I'm going to whisper to Joseph and Alfred. Do you think he's told anybody inside he heard something?
Possibly, but they're not going to know what floor we're going to or anything. So
That's very true.
they can't really. If they're not coming to check it out from this side, then I don't think there's anything to worry about. I'll head over to the ladder and start climbing.
Yeah, I'll wait till Ralph goes. I'll come last.
True gentleman.
I was waiting for a comment. I was just wondering who it was going to be.
Had to be done.
Nothing. After 5 minutes, nothing happens. Nobody appears.
So have I climbed up by then?
So you're going to go up?
I said I was going up as soon as we saw he was
okay.
lit.
Sorry.
I was at the climb.
Yeah. So go up.
Has the fire estate got a window so people can see through while on the other side of it, or is it sort of...
Yeah, it's probably more a door or a window that's big enough and designed to be open so people can get out. But
I'm just
yeah,
wondering, do I need to crouch out of sight while trying to open it, or is it solid?
well, each of the floors that you go up, so you need to kind of wend your way up, sort of to the third floor. Each of the windows are dark, so it's entirely up to you if you want to crouch.
I will be on the safe side because I'll be silhouetted against the light outside from the moon potentially. So
Yeah, I think if you imagine, Kathy, the ladder only goes up to the platform and then it's just stairwell up to the doors.
yeah, but I'm still going to duck under the window that's in the doorway, or
Oh yeah.
however the fire escape is, just to make sure that I'm not silhouetted. If someone happens to be down the corridor and haven't turned the lights on,
Hmm.
you never know, that might suddenly pass in front of the moon. So yeah, I'll go up to the right floor, keep out of sight of any windows and things, and try and open the door.
Okay. The door doesn't have. 1 second. The door doesn't have an obvious handle this side, but as you kind of glance through, there is a mechanism that you think you can potentially kind of force.
Okay. I'll give it a go. When
Okay.
next use the tool, I'll use my knife.
It's up to you.
If I don't need to, then I won't. It'll be more evidence that someone's been here. But if I haven't got any choice, then I'll use the knife.
I've been stupid. It's bloody escape door, isn't it? It won't be locked anyway. Be a bar on the inside.
Yeah. But I have been in places where the fire escape has been a locked door. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that would be stupid, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But highly
Well,
possible.
Old council buildings and an old hospital, they had fire escape and it was a locked door.
No.
Yeah.
All right. Your choice. You've got locksmithing. You can apply your locksmithing. You can apply your locksmithing to try and force it open.
Okay. Oh, it's a spend, not a roll.
Use a spend.
What is going on with this thing? It won't scroll down.
Yeah, mine's the same.
Right. So it updated today, and I think they've broken that bit on the update.
Ah.
It's not scrolling down, is it? It's really
No.
weird.
It's
like
a
a
half.
roll.
Yeah, it's like a half a scroll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was me and choice of browser I'd used or something.
No, there was an update, and I suspect they broke that on the update. Okay,
Yeah.
2 points spent.
Sorry.
Okay, let's have a look.
I'm hoping that's enough to do it without actually breaking anything.
See, it's weird because yours go down fine.
Yeah.
Probably takes you about 5 minutes of cursing under your breath as you find that, just like the fire escape, the bar clearly hasn't been utilized and maintained well, and the locking mechanism that's holding the door in the frame is quite stiff. But eventually you manage to kind of get your... In fact, you end up pulling your knife out, slamming your knife in, pushing your knife inwards towards the door frame so that it forces the lock just enough so that you can just then tease the door outwards, because of course there is a bar on the other side. It's a slam bar that will open the door outwards.
Okay.
And so you get the door open.
Okay. Once it's open, I'll leave it open for a little bit and make sure nobody's heard anything and coming over to investigate. But it's only open a crack, so that's if they glance down the corridor, they can't see.
There is, again, a a flickering light moves down the corridor and along past the blind covered windows. They're ill-fitting blinds, but they offer some protection. And you can see this kind of flickering candle that kind of stops. You're not sure if it comes all the way up or whether it just stops at the next, maybe the room to the right hand side of it. Oh, sorry, left hand side. Yeah, pick my pen up so I can remember which is my left hand. 50 odd years old and I still don't know my left and right hand automatically. It's mental. And then the light fades.
Right, okay. Once I've heard them go away, I'll flash my torch down to signal the others that it's open, and I'll wait for them to come up.
You two see a torch above flash a couple of times. You believe that is the signal?
Go on.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a second. Okay. The rest of you climb up the ladder, up onto the frame, onto the fire escape, and then you kind of move up the fire escape to the third floor door, where Alfred is crouched by a slightly open fire escape.
Someone did come to investigate, but went back. So be careful, not to make too much noise.
Okay, well, let's all of us go inside as quietly as we can and as quick as we can.
Well, if you two want to wait here till I get the doctor's door open, just in case that's locked as well.
Good thinking.
I'll open the door crack, make sure there's nobody in the corridor. And then
So the fire escape opens into the doctor's office.
oh, right, okay. That's easier than I thought. Okay, I'll just go in and make sure that there's nobody else in there.
It's empty.
That's fine. Save one for the others to come in.
Follow him.
The three of you are now in probably a 4 yard by 4 yard, 3 yard by whatever, 15-foot by 12-foot kind of room.
Is there a window on the door into this room, or is it a solid door?
Yes. There's 2 windows. There's a window on the wall that has got a blind over it, like a slatted blind that's badly fitting but provides some protection. And there is a badly fitting blind on the window to the door that leads. So both that window and the door with its window lead into the corridor.
Right, okay. Are they down at the moment, or?
The blinds are down, yes. There is a second window in here next to the fire escape door, which there is the doctor's desk is kind of facing up against the wall with that window, so he can just look out over Valletta or whatever whilst he's working. There's a couple of chairs, a small table. In fact, there probably wouldn't be a table. There'd maybe be 2 chairs just kind of facing each other. A couple of metal filing cabinets, a bookcase on the back wall, maybe a bookcase and a filing cabinet, coat stand by the door in, and the sort of like the end wall. Pile of paper on the desk, probably a couple of pile of paper and folders and things on the desk.
I'm going to quietly move over to the door into the corridor, and I'm going to sit by it and put my ear to it and just listen out for anybody coming.
Okay.
I'll head to the filing cabinets. See whether they're locked or not.
There is no window in this room that goes out into the corridor, is it?
Yes, there is.
Oh, sorry.
It
Right.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a blind down. But is it badly fitting? So
Yeah, light will go through.
so we can't turn the light on or anything because we've got these two windows. So it's going to be torchlight or moonlight from opening the blinds at the proper window.
Well, let's work by moonlight to start off with until you find anything of interest.
Yeah.
And then maybe hunker under a desk and have a look.
That's more or less what I was thinking.
I wish you bought a blackout blanket.
At the moment, the moon, just so you know, is a waxing gibbous moon, heading towards a full moon in a week's time.
Okay, is it this side of the building or are we in darkness?
It's probably crossing over your side of the building.
So it's light at the moment, but it'll be dark. We say how long?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Check out the filing cabinets.
Give me a sec. Just need to respond to an email.
Yeah, if you're going for the filing cabinet, so you're going to search for Montgomery and Alexi was the kid's name, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So you have a little bit of pale moonlight coming in if you kind of crack the blind overlooking the outside a little bit. Probably enough to illuminate the desk and the immediate area around the desk, but it's probably not enough to illuminate any of the further back towards the corridor.
Okay. The filing cabinets. Do they have any labels on them? Say
Filing cabinets, half the filing cabinets are labelled with the alphabet. There's probably 8 drawers, probably 6 of them have the letters of the alphabet on them. Probably, roughly speaking, A to D, E to H, etc.
Okay. First, I'll go to whichever one's got M. See whether it's on the Montgomery or whether it's in Donovan, and have a
Under M, you can't find any reference.
okay. Check on the D for Donovan.
You will find a Montgomery Donovan Jr.
I think Alexi's going to be a pain in the ass then, isn't it? Unless you know his surname.
Or maybe if something in Montgomery's file has Alexi's surname.
That's what I'm hoping. So look through.
So you would have, because you saw the name tag, at least those of you who were in there, Alexi would have been listed under Jones or Smith probably.
I'll get out Montgomery Donovan. and that's to Ralph. I can't remember the name then. And then I'll go and look for Alexi Jones. Start looking from that. I'm guessing that you're faster at reading than I am. And Montgomery's going to have more details, I would assume.
Ralph, do you have medicine? No.
No. Got first aid and psychoanalysis.
I got 1 point in medicine.
Okay, so actually, Ralph, medical texts and things are not something you've ever really thought to study. And whilst you can read the words clearly and you can make sense of the wording, you just can't make sense of the charts and what they're really telling you. Beyond the basics in terms of you can see periodic references to something labelled N in amongst this mess. But the one thing that you'll get is it's an absolute mess. There's all kinds of drugs and medicines being prescribed with this regular reference to N in amongst them.
Write any anything that's referenced with N into my notebook.
Okay. Taking
and if they've got effects, so I'll start it with the word I don't know with N and then effect.
Yeah.
And just make a table up, and then I can always go into a library and look it up.
Taking a look yourself, though, Alfred. 1 second. This is going to look weird because I'm going to lower my desk because my feet are hurting. I've been stood up a lot today.
Good. Better feet posture.
Yeah, I try and stand up regularly.
Also burns more calories over a day. So
yeah, but it hurts my feet after a while on a hard floor. Probably get a rug, a nice soft rug.
Get yourself one of those mats for standing.
Yeah, that might not be a bad shout. All right, we are back to normal. Okay, so, Alfred, Joseph, do you have medicine?
No, I don't.
You're just staring down the corridor, aren't you?
I am just listening at the door, and yeah.
Alfred, you glanced over, and actually, whilst medicine is still not your bag, you do have a rudimentary understanding of medicines and medical charts and things. And, poring over both Alexis and Montgomery's charts with Ralph, there's a couple of things that you notice. Monty and Alexis' charts are virtually identical. And based on what you can see, Alexi was admitted with bite marks, but his treatments are 100% mirroring the treatments that Monty's been given. There is, when you look at Monty, there is an overlapping mess of treatments, drugs, and a general sense of flailing around without a clue as to what the underlying causes of Monty's illness is. You also spot these periodic doses simply labelled as N. They do nothing to the patient, but have never been abandoned. From what you can tell, whatever Dr. Salazio is prescribing and doing has zero impact on the improvement of Monty's health.
So does it give us the symptoms that they're getting? They don't know what it is. One of them's obviously got a mouth. Alexi's got a mouth. Does it mention whether Monty has as well, or
It gives a bunch of symptoms that indicate he's very sick, but no real label to what this ailment is. There's a bunch of a bunch of things that on their own are probably bad. Altogether, they're really bad, but altogether they shouldn't occur like this. And so it's really hard to work out. So basically there's just nothing you can latch onto to say this is what he has or this is what he might have. And it's perhaps the treatment is indicating that.
yeah, so he doesn't know what's the matter with them. Doesn't know how to fix them. He's just trying lots of things that might actually do more harm than good.
On the other hand, looking at Alexei, again, he has the only thing that these marks that he came in with, which is bites and scratches. And there's a nurse's reference to the bites on his arm healed nicely, bites on his left arm healed nicely, bites on right arm healing but scarring. But he's equally being given exactly the same overlapping mess of drugs, flailing treatments that mirror almost to the delivery time Monty's treatments. And Monty and Alexis definitely does not have symptoms that would be cured by any of the drugs that he's being fed.
Does it say? So I'm assuming you're going to be reading this out aloud a little bit, but does it say how he got the bites, the scratches?
Then we're doing a mouth on it that's bitten the other one.
Yeah, it says Dockside waterfront dog bite.
He's gone into the field of mouths, hasn't he?
Sounds like it.
But he doesn't have a mouth on him. He's just been attacked by the mouths.
Oh, the one that's potentially leaving scarring, I'm wondering whether it's actually a Dorman's mouth.
Bottom of one of the cabinets, one of the filing kind of mixture of bookcase and filing cabinet. When you open it up inside, there are a number of the blue nectar vials, along with a number of normal brown medicinal bottles.
Just to backtrack a little bit, in Monty's records, did that say anything about why he was admitted?
Just with these ailments.
Right.
Any indication that the two kids knew each other?
No indication that the children knew each other.
So we've got vials and brown bottles.
Yes. There are also some other chemicals in here. Some bottles of, normal bottles of saline, for instance.
don't suppose there's any pictures of the marks or anything from the kids.
No.
Whether photos or sketches or anything.
There's a fairly decent description, you know, bites across body, across side of torso, across arms, across legs. Average size is this big, you know, kind of,
Yeah.
but attributed to canine.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that's bollocks.
Well,
Because
I was gonna say, even though the one I saw through the window wasn't a canine, was it?
No. They, you know, visibly they were definitely not.
Elongated canine, yeah. I'll whisper, have you checked his desk?
Not yet. Expecting to find alcohol in the drawers and that.
Bring it back with us.
Then there's evidence that we've been here. We might as well nick the nectar vial so he doesn't poison the kids with it.
Well, maybe it's not. Maybe because it's the blue's like a euphoric nectar, isn't it? So maybe that's just keeping them sedate.
I'm guessing they're still addicted to it.
Anybody got chemistry?
Ooh.
Nope. It's one of the skills that I wanted, but I can't think of a good reason as to why I'd have it.
Because you want it.
Yeah, I can't really justify suddenly knowing anything about.
Well, no,
kids.
but you just set the ground rules and get some books.
Yes,
When we
I have not.
time to sit and learn new skills, then yeah, but by then I will probably won't need the skills.
Oh,
Has he
Oh,
got
my
any?
my drink went down the wrong way.
Any
Anybody got
of the
chemistry? Nobody got chemistry?
No,
but
sorry.
Has he got any books on chemistry here that we could cross-reference against?
There are a few books on chemistry, yeah.
Is there anything that jumps out at us that as strange we can?
Well, you have medicine, don't you, Alfred?
Yeah.
From a purely medicinal standpoint, you know that the blue vials contain nectar, and when you unstopper one and smell it, you get that distinct musky, honey kind of smell. You unstopper one of the brown bottles, and it's kind of a faint, musky, honey smell. And when you kind of pour a little bit out, you can see it's kind of a very pale orange colour, whereas, you know, nectar is a very amber liquid. This is a very pale orange colour, and there's a hint of saltiness in it. And it seems like
Saline.
saline.
So saline's been watering it down the.
There may be a couple of other things here and there. There's probably some other chemicals in there, maybe extra salt, maybe potassium, potassium manganese and all that kind of stuff. So other things that, you know, could be used in for a medicinal purpose, being mixed in various ones of these bottles, and they all have labels on with just some code on that, N plus, and then maybe the chemical formula for whatever's been added, right?
Yeah.
But from a medicinal point of view, you are, in your limited understanding of medicines, pretty sure that these brown bottles are the equivalent of a 6-year-old kid in on a stovetop in a kitchen, mixing various things that you might find in a kitchen or a bathroom.
Yeah.
And therefore are absolutely useless from any true medicinal value.
Yeah. Still be dangerous now.
The desk just contains various observations on different patients, as well as observations on Monty and Alexis. The main observations really are that, no matter what he's trying, and sometimes he'll say, tried a solution of N plus whatever chemical thing, no effect, or boy got, M got sicker. And then other things like Donovan Sr. visited Son while Son was particularly ill on effects of N plus whatever, had to placate father that it was just a small, almost like there's a bit of a journal going on in here as well. But Ralph, one of the things that you find in one of the drawers is an odd scribbling that seems very much out of place. I'm just trying to find it. Is it this one? Yes. There you go. In fact, it's a language you can't really read.
It's similar to anything I've seen before, anywhere that I can recall.
Is it a shorthand, or is it an actual language?
Give me an occult spend.
That's not me then.
No, Ralph.
We sure it's not Elvish?
It is definitely not Elvish.
Yeah, this is before Tolkien, so no.
From what you can tell, it is similar to some of the writings that you've read or skimmed over in a couple of the Revelations of Glaaki. Putting that into your mind and kind of thinking about pronunciation and enunciation, you're able to figure out how to pronounce out loud what you can see on the paper. It's a cross between a spell and a chant. If you want to go a little bit further, I would require a Cthulhu Mythos use, which will cost you stability and sanity.
Um, 2 points? Or 1?
It will cost you 3 stability and 1 sanity.
Just 1 point of Cthulhu.
You don't need to spend any Cthulhu Mythos points. You just need to lose the stability and sanity.
Okay.
It's not like anyone else can actually warn you.
Give me a sec. I just need to write an email to my boss.
Something to the lines of, "Stop bothering me. I'm not working at the moment. I'm gaming." See how well that goes down.
No, sadly not. I wish it'd be good if you could, but you can't always do that. No, I wouldn't have answered it. It was just I saw the email, who the original email came from. We were waiting for that email, and it contained some stuff in there that's quite uncomfortable for us. Sorry, did you spend your sanity?
Yep.
Yeah.
On the stability.
I need
Then-
stability, please.
Oh, sorry, I just took 3 points off.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. You may add onto your character sheet that you know the chant or rite of the liar's blessing. I am going to presume at this point you are not chanting it out aloud. You're just,
You would be correct.
you're just taking the paper, and for the next... Now, it's going to take some time.
Well, he needs to draw a pentagram first, doesn't he?
It's going to take you 2 hours to be able to transcribe this into your notebook.
The chants.
So it's the rite of the liar's blessing.
But I think, how can we take a photo of this without it being too obvious? 'Cause it's going to need a flash.
The general gist of
Just take the photo.
the
Do
general
it away from the inside, and if somebody sees it, somebody sees it. They'll just think somebody on the outside will just think somebody's turned a light on.
the general gist of the chant is that when cast or when chanted over a particular victim, it gives the nearest major mouth the ability to draw upon that victim's life force as part of its sustenance. So it kind of creates a link that is designed to eventually wear the subject down to death.
That sounds like a good cause of illness.
Yeah. Does it have any requirements? Like, does it have to be? Do you have to be by the victim? Does it take a certain length of time? Does it give any of that type of thing, or you just choose somebody and do it wherever you are?
And can you undo it?
Because it's less of a spell and more of a chant, the chant has to be spoken in a certain way, in a certain inflection, inflection in how you do it, certain cadence. You don't need anything particularly, and as far as you can tell, you don't even need to believe or know that a major mouth is nearby. But it has to be done in the presence of the victim.
Right. And looking at the length of it, an idea of how long it would take.
Probably 5 minutes, maybe 10, depending on how fast you choose to recite it.
Which is kind of ideal to have in a hospital if you've got patients that are unconscious.
Ralph,
Yeah.
you came upstairs with Joseph earlier, didn't you?
Yes.
And from memory, the Doctor was in with Donovan Jr.
Yeah, I didn't look through. I don't think I looked through the door though, did I? I think I was stood there, but it was
Joseph that looked
it was
through
you
the
two, wasn't it? Yeah, Joseph looked through, wasn't it?
door. Okay. Then you would have to speak out the chant out aloud for Joseph to see your mouth movements to be able to make a
Or just mime it.
Yeah, that's not happening anytime soon, guys. Sorry. Just to connect dots. He's not going to do that.
There is a sense, by the way, that it has to be something the mouth is interested in. If the mouth is not interested, it will not. You get the sense that it won't take hold.
So what we need to do is drug Montgomery Donovan Senior. You chance over him on that, and he'll want to destroy the mouth to break the bond. That's why I was asking whether you think you needed to be near them or not. That's not going to happen.
So the best you can tell, So the best you can tell is you need to be in the presence of the victim. You need to recite the recital, start to finish, in the presence of the victim, and then if the major mouth is interested, it would begin that connection and start to draw the life force away.
And I can't see the mouth wanting Donovan because he's keeping it safe at the moment, isn't he? And feeding it.
You assume so.
Yeah.
Maybe he's captured it.
As far as you can tell, Salazio has this chant in his drawer, if you like, under a couple of notebooks. And he is also feeding the boy nectar mixed with other chemicals that are having zero effect.
So Salazio knows how to read this, which means
He's a cultist.
He's a cultist.
So is he feeding a load of rubbish to Montgomery Donovan that he's treating him, his son, but he's actually the cause for his son's illness? Or is he doing this on Montgomery Donovan's request? In which case, why the hell would he want his son to be?
There's no notes in his journal about him reciting this.
Well, when you saw the Doctor, was he with Monty Jr. or Alexei?
Monty Jr.
Right.
They just seemed to be talking, was that right?
Ralph, as you've kind of gone through this and you're kind of mulling this over, it very clearly says in sort of the first summation of the chant, in the first couple of sentences, that this is a blessing to be given to those who need the comfort and the succour of the lyre. Nowhere in the chanting does it actually say, and you become beholden to the magic mouth, and the magic mouth will suck away your life force until you die. It's only because you understand from your studies the underlying meaning of what you are chanting, that you're able to work out that it is not a blessing, but it is a damaging chant.
Buyer beware, there's a lot of duff under the hood, basically.
Yeah. Do we need to have a word with the doctor and enlighten him, or?
Is he going to be having a bath afterwards?
I think you might do. Do you know, from what you've been saying about this, what this doctor's into, I think he's already enlightened.
Well, he going off with it being a blessing, he might be thinking that this is actually helping the kids rather than actually killing them. We reveal what it's actually doing, and if he believes us, he realizes what the hell has he done. It might give us information. If not, then he has a bath.
But he can read this, though. This is my issue. He can read the writing
Yeah.
of this. Ralph has taken a while, and it's cost him a bit of his sanity.
Oh, there's nothing to say that the doctor's insane as well. But
that's with Ralph's commitment to find out what this reading is. This doctor seems to already be able to read it anyway.
I suppose there is an essence of. There's one thing to read it and know how to read it. There's one thing to truly understand it.
we've seen the other side of what's going on. He's just been told this will help. This is how you say it.
But then why?
In which case,
Why is it in this language and not in English?
Yeah, the problem with that is it wouldn't be in this language.
Yeah. So it's he.
So he knows the language enough to read it without being told how to say it.
Which also would mean, in my eyes, that he would know the undertones of it as well.
He's got a background he must have a background in the occult as strong as mine.
Yeah.
No books in this office to indicate that.
No.
Look for any sealed.
Revelation of
areas while
Glacky,
he's
42.
transcribing it.
It'll be worth visiting his home.
Yes.
No copies of Revelation of Glacky anywhere in here. No copies of the Necronomicon. No copies of the Unaussprechen die Kulten.
Yeah.
Any hidden areas under bookshelves or anything?
No.
Bottom of the filing cabinets or.
No, I mean, while it's going to take a couple of hours for Ralph to really get his head around this, and whilst he's doing so, you give this a thorough search. There's a couple of times when, the flickering candlelight comes down the corridor, stops. Joseph, you're able to kind of just through an edge of the blind, you're able to see that essentially it's a nurse. It's the nighttime duty nurse. He's literally with a candle in her hand, coming to each of the doors, and he's peering through the doors, looking at the patient, and then moving down to the next one, and then back.
And I'm assuming this is coming at certain time points as well,
Probably every hour.
Yeah.
Roughly speaking. And so by your reckoning, by your clock, your watch, there is probably one coming up in about 11 minutes.
Okay, I'll make Ralph and Alfred aware of that.
I don't think there's anything else in here. If we spent 2 hours at Ralph's been transcribing this, searching the place.
So
There'd be no point altering this ritual that's on his desk because he knows it anyway, doesn't he?
Yeah.
looking at there is definitely half a cupboard full of nectar vials. So Salazio definitely has access to nectar. He's, as far as you can tell, performing pointless experiments on the nectar, mixing various chemicals with it. Most of the time calling it orange juice, even though it's different concoctions. That seems to be what the nurses call it. From all the charts and things that you can see in here and the notes, both Alexei and Monty are not being helped. Alexei in particular is being fed a bunch of things that have zero value to his health. And Monty, they just don't know what is, he shows no, sign of getting better. There is buried in one of the chart, the historical chart. So what you're looking at is not the current chart, but if you imagine it's probably a build-up of charts over the last couple of months, right?
Yeah.
And in one of them, probably 2 weeks after he was checked in, there is a reference to prayers. Where it sort of says, Donovan suggested that I pray over Junior to the liar for his blessing to help heal him.
And he actually says the liar.
Yes. It'll say something like, I will try this when I'm alone in his room.
So essentially, Donovan's killed his own son.
Yeah, it sounds like two people that need to have a bath.
And it also means that the doctor definitely does know about what's going on.
Yeah.
What else do you know about Donovan?
Well, he killed his wife, allegedly.
There you go.
Yeah, we know he's.
Maybe that's how
evil,
she died in that case then.
Yeah, didn't know whether it was to his son as well, or that he's just. Okay, so we need to destroy the mouth and ideally assassinate the doctor and Donovan now.
We never assassinate anybody, we let them have a good bath.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be as easy to get all of them into a bath.
We have a Ralph.
Won't know until we try.
Yeah, they might not be conscious when they go in, but
It's not the sort of time where we could throw a toaster in there. It'd be like chucking the whole oven in there, wouldn't we, with a grill?
Ralph kind of wraps up his notebook and utensils, sticks them back in his pack. Very carefully places the paper back into the, with his gloves on, of course. Places the paper back into the drawer where he found it. Slides the drawer closed, makes sure it snicks. Hides the paper back on the desk. You get the sense that he is done.
let's get out of here before the nurse comes back.
I'll take a quick look out the blind to see where she is.
You can't see that far down the corridor.
That's fine, just as long as she's not in my view.
She isn't in your view.
I'll give Alfred and Ralph a nod, and then head out from the door.
You make your way back out, down the fire escape. Last one out, Alfred. You very carefully close the fire escape to the point that it snicks again and holds itself back in place. You head back down the fire escape, leaving the ladder as it is, and over to your car, where just as you all kind of get into the car about 2 minutes later, you can see, according to your watch, it is just about almost 1 a.m. You can see the guard begin his external rounds. So you all duck down, below as low as you can in the car, as the guard doesn't really come out to the car park, doesn't really acknowledge that the car exists. And you watch him kind of come to the end. He kind of sweeps up the ladder again, turns and walks back, and then you see him disappear inside.
Once it goes inside, I'll start the engine and with no lights drive out to the car park. Once I'm out the car park, I'll turn the lights on.
Give me a driving test, please.
Certainly.
I want a DVLA standard driving test, please.
Whew. I was being really careful there. That's why I used 2.
There is some light, a little bit of moonlight left. There's a couple of sort of chemical lights in the car park, casting some glow, but not a lot. Allows you to get out down onto the road, and as you reach sort of the bottom of the road, where it might head the hospital's on a hill.
That's right. Yeah.
You get down the bottom, flick your lights on before you pull out into the main street. The streets are deserted.
Just careful, drive back to the hotel.
That's where we'll take a break.
Ten minutes?
10 minutes? Yeah, sounds good.
Fixing split poles.
Yeah.
And I've just done a running repair on the rucksack that I'm taking as well. Which this will probably be its last festival. Because last time I took it in 2019, on the final day coming back, I'd loaded it up and then swung it onto my shoulder. I heard a like, I'm glad I'm on the way back.
Okay, we are back.
Very
So,
good.
a journey back to your hotel. What are you doing? Any conversation you wish to have in the car, or are you just wending your way through quiet streets of Valletta in silence?
I think we've got some decisions to make. Do we, as Alfred said, speak to the doctor or confront the doctor even? Do we go through the chambers and deal with the mouth?
Feed the doctor to the mouth.
Yeah.
2 birds with 1 stone.
And we're on a time scale here as well because that ship's going to go in a day's time, is it?
Well remembered.
When
Goes tomorrow on the tide.
someone.
You currently, it's like just after 1 a.m. on the 14th, and the ship sails on the afternoon tide of the 15th.
I remember right, there's somebody in the military that's compromised. Yeah,
And
there's
you
one
saw
through
an
the fleet
officer
spell.
that was clearly buying nectar.
We need to find a way of stopping that ship from leaving.
Ideally by sinking it. But
Yeah, I was going to big hole in the side not only does that job, but I go back to limpet mines again, but you know.
yeah. See, it's getting hold of these things, that's the tricky bit.
Wasn't there a possibility of going through the tunnels, the catacombs, and getting into the army section?
Yes.
Possibly. I still think Zed should allow me to spend the preparedness points and suddenly have a rocket launcher or something to blow up the ship.
Or a sea mine?
Yeah. So the ship, I'm assuming, is going to be the priority since that's the time sensitive side. But
And that's
by doing that, it's going to raise everyone's alertness.
yeah. But the other thing is as well that would need to be done in darkness. I can't see us getting to it during daylight, especially when they're making ready to leave. I mean, I've been on plenty of cruise ships to know that before on the day of departure, it's going to be like a madhouse there.
Yeah, if we've got a day, does that mean we've got a full day?
No, we've got
night?
until.
You have got until, let's just for argument's sake, Friday the 15th, the freighter will leave at 3 p.m.
And we're currently on the 14th.
And you are currently at 1 a.m. on the 14th.
Right, okay, so we have got another night.
Yeah, to do something.
Yeah, I was thinking that we had to go there now to get there during the night.
To be fair, I did as well.
It's like
24 hours and approximately about 24 hours plus 15 hours. So you got about 39 hours, probably 38 hours before you think the freighter's leaving.
That, I think, is going to have to be our priority now then.
Yeah. I think go back, get some sleep, and then hit the catacombs tomorrow morning. We can park up somewhere safe and go in the entryway that.
Yeah. We don't know how to
I
get
can't remember his
there.
name. Catholic priest. So Godfrey Wells.
Yeah, and then it's the Indiana Jones bit where
Yeah.
you have to run through the catacombs avoiding the traps.
That's right. Duck dive.
So is that your plan?
Yeah. So go back, have a rest, go into the catacombs, try and find a way into the army base, into the storage section if possible,
Ah, yes.
and see if there's any munitions we can use.
Okay.
And then we'll get a boat and go sailing.
Is that the plan?
We've got to get out to the big ship somehow, haven't we? So I thought go from the seaside, the land side,
Okay.
possibly.
As the sharks, train them up to deliver it. That type of thing.
We need the sharks with freaking laser beams.
Yeah.
What do you need? $1 million.
Okay. I wish this was Warhammer. At least my character had row.
This is true.
Oh, my character's got interrogate, so we could have got information out of the doctor.
Yeah, fire doesn't work with water.
No. Which is why I'm worried about next game.
Well, you arrive back at the hotel. Very quiet. Sleepy doorman lets you in.
No, thank you.
You head up to your rooms. You have a nice sleep. What kind of time are you thinking about waking up?
Time for breakfast.
Breakfast
What,
runs
8-ish?
7 to about 10.
Yeah, about 8-ish, I reckon.
About 8. All right. It's a little bit after 8 o'clock. You meet respectively down in the restaurant for breakfast. The equivalent of a cooked breakfast. And plan out your day.
Just to add to the day, I think if all goes well in the catacombs tonight, before we do the boat, maybe we should follow the doctor home. What do you think about that? I don't mean do anything, but just find out where he lives.
Yeah. There's no urgency for that. We could do that after the next day.
I just thought while we're waiting for proper darkness, because he went home.
If we're going through the catacombs, it doesn't matter whether it's night or not. We just want to get the parts.
Yeah, but
find our way to the ship as well.
Yeah, but then I don't think the catacombs go to the ship because otherwise they'd be underwater.
Yeah. No, what I mean is we've got to find a way to get to the ship as well. It's getting out with munitions.
I was hoping to get a boat from the harbour and just borrow it through the night. Even if it's just a little rowboat.
Yeah, see, it depends on what we can actually get to take the ship. For a second, then that looks like Holly as a red dwarf. I've just a floating head.
Okay, maybe before we go to the catacombs, we have a scout around the harbour and see what private ships are there or boats.
Yeah, what we can use. Anyone know how to sail a boat?
I was just checking, because it's all good about this, and then they're going, I can't use it.
Yeah, I'm good at driving, but I've got nothing on sailing.
And surprisingly, I have nothing on sailing either.
I don't even know whether there is a skill for.
There isn't a specific skill, but you could piloting boats, piloting aircraft. So I would say you could have a derivation of piloting.
Okay.
You have piloting, don't you?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, that's down to Joseph.
Okay.
I've got nothing in that.
I'm going to say, if you want to try and do... So, with a mixture of piloting and driving, you could get a boat from point A to point B. If you have to do anything fancy, you're probably looking at difficulty 4 rather than 3 for maneuvers. And you can use your piloting skill pool towards it.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I have a drive around the harbour because that links to there'll be some personal ships there, personal boats there, I would have thought, for fishing or for whatever.
Just in anticipation, will swimming come under athletics?
I would let it come under athletics, yeah.
So I can't see a skill for that either. I'm just expecting us to sink. So.
Life jackets.
Yeah. Okay. What else do you know about Donovan and Valletta currently?
Well, he pretty much controls the whole place, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Oh.
What else do you know about Donovan specifically?
He likes to go to the opera. He's got certain places he likes to eat. He's got lots of bribes and things. Sorry.
Has a boat.
Oh, he has a boat. He has a bloody boat.
He has a boat.
There's a boat then.
That's the original target I was going to blow up.
That's right.
Trying to blow up.
See, I was thinking that was the boats that were trying to sink anyway.
No, it's a big container.
It's a freighter that's parked in the docks off the pier against the back of the warehouse.
Right, okay.
So the pier is not a dainty little medieval pier that we all think of in our head. It's probably a modern, a 1930s equivalent pier. It's probably 15 feet wide and 30 or so feet, 30, 40, 50 feet long out into the bay.
Probably has the odd cruise liner coming in.
I'm trying to remember it. I have been to Valletta. It's one of the few places I've been on holiday, but I was only a kid at the time.
Yeah, this is south of Valletta. The harbour is sort of the southern side. The bay to the south of Valletta, it's not really the south of Valletta. It's kind of more eastish, really. But that sort of, depending on the orientation of Valletta, I'm not looking at a map of Valletta, but depending on its orientation, it would be the equivalent of the south.
Yeah.
The bay to the south, which is where at this time, in the mid-1930s, the British have their Mediterranean fleet based. Or they certainly have a fleet of ships based in that harbour.
The bonus of using Donovan's yacht would be they would think it's him. Because nobody would be stupid enough to take his boat, would they?
Yeah, the drawback is it may be guarded. And depending on how big it is, it may not be as that easy just to actually sail? I'm guessing it's not going to be a small dinghy type thing.
Let's just hope it's not a sailing ship.
You haven't really.
Could ram it.
You haven't really figured out what it is.
Well, that could be our first job in that which case to have a look at his ship.
I'm sure we had its name, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, I think.
The Elegance.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you doing then? You've got some options. As you finish your breakfast, what are the things that you have definitely decided to do, and in what order?
Well, I think the first thing is try and get munitions, because without that, nothing else gets started.
Okay. All right. Are you going to do this blind, or are you going to see if the knight, the Hospitalier, knows anything?
I think we'll get some information first, and ask the knight.
Okay. You park up in the harbour area, once again in a fairly secluded area, not too far away from where you entered into the sewers and finally led yourself to Godfrey's chapel, if you like. You retrace your steps down through the sewers to said chapel. You're in luck, for Godfrey is currently sat in a chair, reading.
Oh, we were told not to go down there because we meet traps. He was supposed to come and get us.
Was
Do I
it?
remember right?
Did he lead you out then?
Can't remember. He said that it won't be as.
He said, "Don't try and find your way back in because you'll."
My misunderstanding. I thought you'd come out and knew the way back. You can another way back, but yeah, I forgot you said that. Okay, so scrap that then. So it's going to take you a while for him to kind of realize you're looking for him. It's probably going to be an hour or so of you kind of wandering the streets in the vicinity of where he was, which is going to put you about 20 past 10 in the morning. By the time you spot the suited knight, like, you know, Italian suit kind of thing, looking quite suave. Gentlemen, have you decided?
We decided we need munitions to be able to sink the ship. We just don't know how to get to them.
Munitions.
The military base will likely have them, and the catacombs, you said, head it around that direction. So potentially there's a way in.
There is an ancient Templar hiding place that sits not too far from the barracks. It's been a while since I've been there, but I can guide you.
That would be appreciated. Will it get us into the military base, do you know, or?
It will get you close. I can guide you from there once I know you're in the vicinity. He is going to take you. They're going to take on a little bit of a overground walk. Actually, he won't do. He'll tell you that the quicker route requires you to move the car, and it guides you to probably a quarter of a mile or so away from where you've parked to another quiet street in amongst the Harbour Warehouse district. He has you park the car behind a sort of a wooden fence out of view of the main road, and then he takes you to a building. And he smiles. Gentlemen, this is all good and well, but in order to enter the catacombs that we need, I need to get through this door. And he points to a small padlocked side door into a fairly nondescript single-story warehouse that appears locked, but even at this time of the day on a Thursday, abandoned.
I'll step aside and let Alfred do his work.
I'll go over and take a look at the lock.
Yeah, right. So do you want to just use your lockpick skill, or do you want to spend some points?
I'll just use my lock skill.
Okay. Give me your spend. Is it an active skill?
It's not a roll, it's spend points.
Okay, give me your spend. A few minutes of fumbling away, and not fumbling away because you know what you're doing, but a few minutes of careful prizing at the tumblers of the lock. The padlock clicks open in your hand, undamaged, allowing you to kind of slide it off, open the door, gesture to everybody to come back to go in.
I'll carefully close the door behind us.
No worries. Closing the door behind you, those of you with them, you pull out your sort of pocket torches and start flashing them around the dark interior of the warehouse. Godfrey's already walking over to an area sort of in the back right-hand corner where there seems to be a pile of detritus kind of haphazardly placed, and he kind of goes around this pile, and then you hear a dragging sound of like metal against stone.
Yeah. Go around and see what he's up to.
Basically, he's pulling a grate, like a metal, solid piece of metal grating. He's pulling it with some difficulty because he is an old man.
Oh, I'll give him a hand.
Okay. Very quickly, with the two of you joining in, it's very quick to move. There is a set of stairs leading down into the darkness below.
Let him lead the way. We know these places are trapped, and I'm hoping he knows where they are.
Takes you down into kind of an under. It's like maybe originally a cellar for the warehouse or whatever was here before the warehouse was built on top of it. There are rather nice ornate brick pillars that are holding up the ceiling and curved brick walls around the outside edges. Over to one side is another grated door. And just in the ironwork, you can see what appears to be the Knights Templar cross, fashioned in the ironwork of the door.
I'll watch how he does anything, just in case there are tricks at opening certain things.
Yeah, no, he goes over to the door and lock.
You don't have
Mr.
keys
Elliot,
to these. Pardon?
would you kindly?
Hmm.
And if there's any more locked doors, we're breaking them down. That was
The
the last
door
point.
clicks open, and he nods to you. Thank you. He shines. Actually, he goes inside. He kind of bends down and picks up a very old, quite cobwebby sort of lantern, which he then pulls out. Well, actually, he crouches down and has one of you shine your torch on him as he kind of lights the wick. And after a few moments, the lantern bursts into fire and light. And he shutters it, holds it up, and you can see that you've got this kind of very old brickwork going down into the gloom beyond the edge of the lantern light. A beautiful set of stairs, but the stairs in the middle are definitely showing signs of use. There's that kind of slightly worn in the stone kind of groove. And he starts to head on down. Close the grate behind you. Not all the way. We don't want it to relock.
Yeah, I'll do that and pull it across.
Takes you down a series of passageways. You go down. Joseph, you estimate you've gone down probably 50 or so feet below street level by the time this set of stairs kind of levels itself out. It is definitely not as oppressive as the place under the church in England. Various passageways, various chambers that you pass through are quite quite big, well vaulted. Here and there, he points out various symbols, and you're following the same kind of not Maltese cross, but you're following the same kind of Knights Templar cross.
Does he go? And that's where we keep the Ark of the Covenant.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the Ark of the Covenant. That's the Stargate.
Yeah.
That's the Temple of Doom. That's the rolling rock that we have behind the statue that you're stealing off the plinth.
That's a room of chalices.
Yeah. And that's where the penitent man will kneel.
No, duck.
You spend the next sort of probably not that long, maybe a total of sort of 45 minutes or so of carefully navigating around and actually surprising. There's a couple of places that he has you be very careful where you tread. For instance, down one passageway, just as it's about to open up, you can see that there is another Knights Templar symbol, not the cross, but a different symbol, maybe a pair of crossed swords or something that's embedded in the stonework. And he steps diagonally across from it, which is a bit of a squeeze because it's across the corner of the corridor as it opens out into another one of these vaulted chambers. And as he does so, he sort of says, "Mind the swords."
And now I'm going to be keeping out an eye for any swords.
And as you get, as you all get off to the side, he kind of holds up his lantern, and you can see just in the wall, just to the side, where if you have stepped in there, probably head height, chest height, waist height, are 3 slots in the wall.
Ouch.
And it continues, and then gets to another place where he sort of says, "Spears, mind the spears." And he jumps over a flagstone. It's not a big flagstone, probably maybe 1.5 times the width of a piece of A4 paper. So maybe, just that little bit bigger than a piece of A4 paper. And you can see very faintly in here, there appears to be 2 spears in a straight, parallel to each other. And again, as you take a shot at the other side, it kind of holds the lantern up and you can see in the roof, which is a little bit lower than in other places, there are 6 holes directly above this this sort of stone. And he just... That'll be nasty if it hits you.
Any symbol nearby to point out that they were there, or?
Yeah, 2 parallel spears, but these ones are very faintly carved on the stone on the floor.
So basically, look out for any symbol on the floor, and there'll be a trap there.
After another sort of 10 minutes, he kind of stops. Gentlemen, I fear you're on your own from here, so I will not go further. After all, I couldn't afford to be caught.
What can we expect ahead?
Any more traps?
I don't believe there are any more traps. There may be barred way forward, but if you follow the fleur-de-lis with the lance, the fleur-de-lis with the halberd behind it, it will take you to what you seek: an ancient Knight Templar armory. If the barracks... No, I wouldn't say that. If the British soldiers do store anything down there, it'll be in that place.
Thank you very much.
I can wait here, or I can return. What would you prefer?
If you could wait, that would be wonderful, because at least you can show us a way to get past the traps on the way back as well.
Very good.
That's exactly my thought.
Okay. You head on further down into the gloom, and gradually the lantern light kind of fades, and you come to a crossroad, a T-junction, and it's kind of left or right. Looking carefully with your torches, you can see the fleur-de-lis takes you to the left.
Check. I'm checking the floor as well for any more things that look like symbols or swords or spears or even anything else that looks out of place.
No worries. After sort of maybe another 5 or so minutes of following the 5-10 minutes of following the fleur-de-lis, you do take a couple of turns, and then you notice up ahead the fleur-de-lis is kind of you're starting to see this, right? It's in different places, but you're generally starting to spot where it is, and you can see that it's on there's an opening to your left again, and you can see that the fleur-de-lis is just embedded in a small capstone on the arch above that left hand, on that left hand turn. And so as you turn in, you are immediately greeted, probably maybe 10 foot inside this, with a metal grate.
A grate on the floor, or a grate above?
Across the entranceway. There is a door in it, but nonetheless, it is closed.
Please tell me it's not locked, because I spent my last point opening the door to get down here in the first place. Try the door carefully.
As you go to examine it, and you kind of bend down, Alfred, and kind of almost get, crouched down and just about to peer through the lock. You kind of put your hand on it and it goes and opens.
That's a bit of good fortune.
Yeah.
I rolled a 1. My target was a 1 or 2 and it was going to be unlocked.
Let's hope our luck continues.
Yeah.
Continuing downwards, down the passage. Here and there now you're noticing electric lighting in various tunnels as you're crossing a number of tunnels, very much like it was in, almost like it was in Bangkok, in the sewers there. You're seeing definite signs of occupation, and in various small antechambers that you pass, you can see stacked up crates. Some small, some long. Alfred, to you, these are a mixture of ammunition, or should I say munitions, and weapon crates.
I'll point out the ones that are most likely to hold something we can use. Whether it's mines or
I'm going to take out my knife and start prying some open.
no. See if they're labelled on the side first. It's easier.
That's true.
You never know.
Are there any markings on these crates?
Yeah. And military people are usually organised.
Yes. So a couple of the crates that you have in here, there is a stack of. Let's have a look. There are probably a half dozen crates of standard issue Lee Enfield rifle.
Ooh.
The Lee Enfield number 4 Mark 1 to be. Oh, wait a minute. No. It would be the Lee Enfield number 1 Mark 3. And a crate of the Enfield Pattern 14.
Ammo.
Also known as rifle number 3. No, in this particular room seems to have probably a total of 30 Lee Enfield Mark 3s and maybe a single crate of Enfield Pattern 14s, rifle number 3s. So the Enfield Pattern 14 counts as a marksman's rifle, whereas the Enfield Mark 3 is their standard rifle.
I'm going to open one of the Pattern 14 crates.
Yep.
And just remove one of the rifles and then close it again.
Okay.
And then pop it just to one side in case we find some ammunition for it.
Are these better than the Springfield rifles we've got now? I don't know.
Reality stats will be the same.
Right.
It's just a flavour.
Yeah.
Because you're American, so your Springfield rifles are American, whereas these are Brits, so their rifle would be the British equivalent.
Yeah, that's fine.
So it counts as a sniper rifle. I don't think there are any stats, but what you will find is a separate, probably a separate crate with a sight on it.
That's what I was hoping for.
It's not going to be an amazing sight, like a uber magnifying sight, but it will be a usable sight. And I would say, if you were to spend a round aiming, you would get a bonus. You couldn't have a bonus +1 or something to your aiming.
Yeah, because the Springfields don't come with sights, do they? Apart from the standard. Yeah.
Would these fit on the Springfield though?
No.
Right. Yeah.
Well, jury rigged possibly, but you don't have the tools to do that here. But you could definitely have a go on the aeroplane.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll take one of the sites. For seeing what I can do with it.
Yeah, well, I'm putting one of the sights with the rifle I've just taken out. I'm just going to leave it on the floor. I'm not going to take it with me because we're coming back this way.
Okay. You're going to kind of place it up against the wall or something.
Yeah. Put it out of sight, just where I know where it is.
Right. Tell me what you're looking for, because there's a whole bunch of different chambers and things in and amongst this area.
Well, if we can find a workstation, we can.
You might bump into somebody, but I'll keep checking.
We'll find a workstation, deconstruct all this stuff, get the material from it, and make a bomb.
I'm thinking things like mines, whether they're sea mines or ground mines that we can attach to the end of the ship, sail away, shoot it, and punch a hole that way or something.
The problem is ground mines shoot outwards. Well, I don't know that, do I?
All right.
Yeah.
Give me a
Something.
preparedness roll. Target is 4. Nice. Right. So first and foremost, the problem with a naval mine is you wouldn't be able to carry it out of here.
Yeah. The ground
However,
mines, when they go off.
What you do find,
On the plus side, we don't need to blow a hole in the ship. We just need to take out the motor, the propellers.
yes.
Sure. What I was thinking was, when a mine goes off, even if someone stands on it, yes, it blows out, but it still leaves a damn big crater under it, which would be enough to punch a hole in the side of a boat.
Too early. Too early. I'm just looking. Okay, so you can find stored in one room a number of Minol packages that would be prepared to go into things like depth charges, naval mines, or torpedoes. Minol is a substance mostly used by the British Royal Navy at the beginning of the war that can be used underwater.
And it's an explosive, is it?
Yes.
How's it activated?
Well, that's what you're going to have to figure out, because normally it's activated by somebody hitting into it and triggering it with detonation and stuff. So you will need to figure that out, and that will be an assumption of an explosives roll.
Target 4.
Yeah, that would work. Okay.
Got lucky there. I've been saving points back just in case I need them to actually place the damn thing.
Of
Oh,
of course, official information is very hard to come by.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
how do I detonate Minol in Google is probably going to have the
Yeah.
police knocking on my door.
Yeah,
Just delete
So-
your history.
I know. I don't need to know the specifics, just that I can actually jury rig something.
Yes, and it involves you getting blasting caps and the equivalent of like detonating caps and possibly grenades and stuff like that, and just taking them to pieces and basically jury rigging. So I'm going to say they're not small packages, right? So they're probably about this kind of size and quite heavy. They're probably maybe 2-4 kilos in weight. And you will find a room with a bunch of these in there, very carefully packaged. Do not drop, this side up, don't drive fast, all that, because apparently over 250 Gs of acceleration, they detonate.
Oh,
So you can't put them in a gun, for instance, and fire them out of a cannon or anything like that because they just blow up. So, but you can probably take one each and still be able to carry at least one other weapon and other accoutrements that you might want to take.
I think it's coming back to the airship again. Fly over it, drop.
bombs away.
Anything
Yeah.
else you want to look for?
Ammunition for my gun.
Yeah,
And
you'll find a chamber which is probably sealed, like the door is probably locked. But it is quiet down here. I am checking to see if there's anything here. So with a little bit of care and quietness, Alfred is able to open the door. And when you open the door, you will see just very neat stacks of ammo in here. Probably thousands of rounds. Pistol as well as rifle.
I'm going to grab
I've
some
got
of
my
each.
sights and the explosives. That's all I need, really.
We need some grenades as well, don't we?
If we come across any, then yeah. But
Yeah, because you want to take the blasting caps out if possible, or if not,
That's
attach them to it.
Yeah.
Would shooting the stuff make it explode?
Probably.
so chat shoots to the side of the ship, sail away, and then shoot with the rifle.
Yeah. But that's only if I could see that, because it would have to be on a propeller to take the propeller out, wouldn't it?
Yes.
And that's going to be underwater.
Or go for a side of the ship and have it hopefully
Sink.
outside. But then if it's exposed, it becomes a challenge for you to maybe get it below the waterline.
How about attach a grenade to it, attach it to the propeller, tie some string around the pin or something around the pin, sail away and pull the pin.
That's a lot of string you're tying.
Yeah.
So the pattern 14, the pattern number 3 rifle, 5 round strips. So how many do you want to take?
I'll take just 3 strips over 15 shots if I've not done what I need to do in that then.
Okay. You take 3 clips.
If you miss on the first clip, then we take the rifle off you.
Yeah. Yeah.
My ring camera's going off because there's a spider's web outside of it.
Yeah.
Okay. You can find some grenades. How many grenades do you want to take?
Well, at least 3.
Yeah. 36.
Yeah.
6 grenades.
3 each, I would have thought.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
3 each with 9 then in that case. Then.
Anything else?
Bazooka. Can we find one? That'll make it so much easier.
Is that a T5 tank?
I just had a flashback to Division 2. I ducked behind cover as a rocket flew straight over my head the other day. It's like, yeah, that was a lucky duck.
And yes, you find half dozen still in the brown kind of grease-proof grease paper Vickers machine guns. But
Carrying one of those isn't going to be.
you're not going to
feasible.
be able to carry one of those and carry the Minol.
No.
I'm kind of looking at this. Mine, I'll have looked at one of those. No, we're good.
Yeah, the machine gun would be nice, but how the hell are we going to use it?
Be great for suppressing fire.
Yeah,
If we only use 2 of these minols, we can use a third one on the mouth.
essentially, yeah.
Say that again.
No,
You
you say
only-
if we only use 2 of these minols, we can use a third one on the mouth.
That is the other thing to think about. Do you have any? Do you want to try and get explosives for the mouth? Because if you remember, the guy in Bangkok wanted to both blow it up from inside as well as bring everything down on top of it.
Yeah, but that's why he was using TNT and grenades and things.
Yeah, on a body. Yeah,
So we could throw a grenade into the mouth.
I found a use for the doctor.
I did suggest feeding him to the mouth.
You did.
There we go. Like they smuggled drugs sewn inside them. This one was smuggling explosives inside him into the mouth.
You will also find a couple of crates with Sten Mark IIs in them. Think. No, you won't because it's 1941. When did that come into service? Okay. No, 1940, so it's too late. So it would be Thompson machine guns. Yeah. You will find 2 crates containing 6 Thompson submachine guns each and 24 reloads, because it is the classic Tommy gun with the circular belt fed thing underneath it. So you'll find 24 of those.
Oh, do you know
And
what?
pistol, by the way, there are pistols. It's whether you'd want. I would assume you don't particularly care about pistols.
No.
Okay. So those are the things. You also find some sticks of dynamite.
Well, the dynamite's important.
Yeah, we'll
Traditional.
take some of the dynamite stuff because that's the foolproof backup. So,
The thing is, how many people are in the warehouse?
Okay. As you get all this stuff back to the first area where the rifles were, you hear voices.
Well, hopefully we've left things as they were behind, but let's get back, get my gun in sight, and get through the door and turn the lights off.
You didn't put the lights on. I was assuming you were using your torch.
That's what I mean. Turn the torch off. Sorry.
we each taking Tommy guns, or
I don't think we
taking
can
off.
carry them, can we?
I'm
Right.
not carrying a rifle. I'm carrying a Tommy gun
I
instead.
was going to say, You can take one long arm each. So I would count a Tommy gun as a long arm. And obviously a Minol, 2 grenades each, and you can probably stick dynamite into your trousers or your bag or whatever. So you can probably take, I mean, what, 6 sticks of dynamite's not that much and not that heavy, so you could probably take 18 sticks of dynamite. In terms of ammunition for the Tommy gun, I would probably say 1 on the gun, 1 spare clip is probably best that you can carry.
Yep, that sounds right.
Okay. Give me stealth rolls, everybody, please. Nice. Ralph looks very much out of place with whatever he's carrying. Although you haven't picked a rifle up really, have you?
No, we had the rifles in the thingy, didn't we?
You've got rifles in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I took a Tommy gun.
Mm-hmm. I was hoping there'd be a shotgun, but such is life.
You're hoping there'd be a shotgun? Where's a shotgun?
Those shotguns in Cheltenham.
Yeah.
The bookworm can be the door opener.
Shotguns. I was looking at list of World War II weapons of the United Kingdom on thing, and shotguns are not listed. But I would imagine there would be some shotguns.
Oh yeah. Slowly move our way back, Stewie.
Okay. You managed to get yourself back to the grate, get through the grate, and very slowly and carefully close it. Obviously, you can't lock it. It turns out the lock is broken, but you close it and make it look as though it's still sealed.
Is there something on the floor like a pebble or something just to put onto this side? Does it open inwards towards us?
Yeah, it would do. Yeah.
Yeah, something like a stone or something just to put under the bottom of it.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll do that and hopefully that'll.
And then you head your way back. So, cut long story short, you meet back up with the knight. He raises his eyebrows as he sees what you're carrying, offers to take anything off you, and helps you get things back up to the top of the warehouse and to the car. You carefully rearrange everything in the boot of the car.
Yeah, Paddy, very, very carefully with jackets or anything that will basically cushion it.
And by now, it's probably 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So, as you pull out of the street, the knight wishes you best in your endeavours. You explaining to him what you're doing?
Yes.
Yeah.
And sorry, yeah, and also mention about the doctor. He's a cultist, if you didn't know.
He's interested in that information. He will do some investigating. He'll try and find out where the doctor lives.
Well, we'll say what we found. Thus, he seems to be doing at Montgomery Donovan's request.
Yeah, his parting comment to you there is this orphan boy, this Alexis. Is he not an innocent party in all this? Did we not rescue him?
We will do, or we should do, but sadly, at this moment, our priority is stopping that ship leaving. Once that is done, we intend to deal with Donovan the Doctor and anybody else.
Okay.
And yes, the boy should be cured or taken out of harm's way.
If we can destroy the mouth, hopefully that will sever the link anyway.
Mm.
He nods. Then, gentlemen, I shall listen for the big explosion. And I wish you Godspeed.
Thank you.
And that's where we'll leave it for tonight.
Da, da, da.
Next week, we can do the raid on the freighter.
Bigger bada boom.
Next week, we officially become terrorists.
Yeah, only if we get caught.
And you have to hope that the British don't do regular
Suck checks.
stock checks.
The thing is that I'm down to 1 point left in explosives, nothing left in lockpicking.
That's what the shotgun's for.
Yeah, I've got plenty of points left in firearms.
I'm just going to burn 2 stealth because I put 2 points into it at the start.
Okay.
There we go, so I'm down to 0 now.
No worries.
I'm actually, after the experience tonight, I should put points in explosives. So it's not constantly.
For Alfred, Alfred is the easiest one to justify you just adding extra points into explosives.
Yeah.
Don't forget you get 2 XP for tonight. Yeah. Next week you can plan how are you going to approach the freighter. I'm surprised you didn't ask for some other things.
God, enlighten us.
Diving equipment.
Oh!
I did think diving equipment, but I wasn't sure whether it would be around back
Well,
then. That would be used.
Yeah. Davis rebreather was in use in the 1930s.
But then we won't be able to carry it all.
No, that's your challenge.
Or use it properly. Probably.
Yeah.
Or use it properly.
I was
yeah.
Army, not Navy, I'm guessing. But
Yeah, you would be. You would have been Army. Yeah.
I think we're going to be holding our breath and going down.
yeah.
Right. I'm going to boot you all out of Foundry.
Oh, 1 second before you do.